Scrappy friends. So I have a layout for um, me and Alicia's challenge challenges that we do. Wow, I can't talk tonight. This is the second time I tried to do this intro. So me and Alicia have a challenge where each week we do a layout in a different theme. And this week we are doing monochromatic. So, real quick, I just want to let you know what I'm doing. I am making a spray because I am going to be using like turquoisey aqua colors with white. So, I am making a more of a blue like a blue color. I have that green up in the top, so that's more like turquoisey, more green, and this one is going to be more blue. And I use my Color Lab dyes, so that's the color that it's going to look like. And I'm just cleaning up because those dyes get everywhere if you're not careful. So I cut these out with a dye from Pink Press Studios from their embellishment kit this past month. And it is such a fun dye because it looks like watercolor strokes. So I'm going to spray them all, and I'm just going to use these two different colors, and I'm also near the end going to use a little Mr. Huey's. But I'm just mixing some of these together to get a little um of a different color, like half and half, or just like kind of mix it and make it the interest a little bit different. So here's where I did Mr. Hughes, and I do not like how this turns out. For whatever reason, spraying that, maybe just because it's more of a matte color and these two have shimmers in them, it just, ugh, it, I just didn't like how it turned out. It was just too green and dull. So this is them pretty much dry-ish, and I'm just filling in some spots that I thought either weren't dark enough or didn't have the color that I kind of wanted. I wanted to make sure most of it had color in it. So, and these sprays, you don't need a lot and they go a long way. The pigment in them is very strong. And obviously, when you make them, you can make the pigment a lot lighter. If you want a lighter spray, you don't have to use shimmer. I really, really love these sprays. So, if you don't have a lot of sprays and you want to be able to make whatever colors you want, definitely go check that out. You can check out Marion Smith Designs, her website. She sells them right from her website, or you can check a couple of other places. So I'm going to use this Maggie Holmes as my background. I really, really love that weathered white wash wood grain. Oh, it's so fun. And I've been waiting for like the perfect layout, which I know you're not supposed to do, but sometimes I just can't help it. Sometimes there's just that paper that, you just don't want to use it unless you know it's going to be a great layout or something. I don't know. So that one is from the Cyborg collection. And then the one in the background is We Are Memory Keepers from Shine. It's called Glisten. And that one is more of a green color, but it has some of the color tones that I'm looking for. So I'm really just going to mix and match different color papers and different mediums. And I do like so much on this layout. I think some of it was I really haven't scrapped that much, like maybe in the past couple of weeks. I've just been like really tired and we've been really busy when we're not doing school. And even just doing school, I homeschool my kids and it just feels like, I don't know, it just takes a lot out of me. So sometimes at night, which is when I usually scrap just because it's hard to do anything when the kids are awake. So I have some Mod Podge and I'm just spraying a little bit of the spray in there because I want to try to get that hue and I want it to be more transparent. So I want it to have that like gel type of look, even though I probably really in the end just need to get like some kind of gel paste or something because it works, but it doesn't. If you use too much with the stencil, it bleeds through and so I don't know. Since I'm newer to mixed media type stuff, I'm not like all up on every little piece of product that you can get to make a better result. So I'm adding just a little bit more of the blue shimmer because I want to have a see if I can get more of that shimmer to come through. So for this, I'm just going to mix it really, really good because if I don't mix it really well, it will be streaky, and that's not what I want to accomplish. And I also add some of that Wilton gel food coloring to give it a little bit more of a green color because it was very, very blue. And I wanted it more like aqua or teal. So I'm just going to paint this on, and it's not going to be perfect. It does seep through a little bit, and I'm okay with that. I mean, like when I do this kind of stuff, I don't care that it's perfect. So, yeah. So I'm just going to do this in little sections, and I'm not trying to do it perfect. So, yeah. I'm just going to do it in a diagonal. Guys, I'm having audio problems tonight. Apparently, I'm not doing enough videos because I just completely lost a whole audio file. Gotta love technology. So, here I am going to be using up some of this, and I show a little bit of it and not a whole. You don't see me do everything on this one. And I'm also going to be mixing up some modeling paste because at this point, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I think, sorry about the noise, guys. I have my glasses on, and it was bugging my ears. So I want to use up some of the Mod Podge, and I want to use up a little bit of the spray. So I figure, hey, I'll just use some modeling paste and put it on some mixed media paper. So, oh yeah, and I forgot that I wanted to put the word fabulous on here too. So at this point, I'm just going crazy and I'm just using tons of mixed media stuff because, I can't decide what I'm going to do, so I'm going to do everything. I don't know. I think a lot of it was I just didn't have a direction. And so when you don't have a plan, sometimes you can just like go crazy because you just want to do everything. So I use that and then I get a piece of mixed media paper, and this is like a cardstock that's really thick to use for mixed media. So it works really, really well with like watercolors and stuff like that. And so I'm just mixing this up, and I'm going to put this flower, the whole stencil, on here. And at this point, I don't realize that I'm going to use this because I'm going to use this. I just set it to the side, I dry it off, and I make sure I wipe up that stencil because if you don't know this, modeling paste and gesso stick to stencils, and if they get on there, it's really hard to get them off. So this is the next day, and I will apologize because I think that this clip of segment is a little bit more blurry, and I don't know why that is. My head must have came up closer to the camera. Sometimes it goes out of focus, and if I don't realize it, because I can't see it when I'm taping, so if I don't realize it, then I don't fix it. So I had taken an Instagram photo. So if you follow me on Instagram, you will see I had posted that I had done that. And at this point, I had no idea that I was going to use that on the layout. Like I didn't. But I had just layered it on there just to look pretty because, why not? And I left it there overnight. And when I got up in the morning, I seen it. I was like, oh, I have to do it like that. I have to put that on the layout. So that's how that ended up on the layout. So here I went through my papers, and I'm going to go through this last bit of paper from Amy Tan from the Stitch collection. And I'm just pulling out papers that are predominantly like an aqua or teal or, in that range of color that I'm looking for. And so I'm getting some of these smaller pieces because I'm going to get out some of my dies, my metal dies, and use my die cutter since I got it for Christmas. I'm still enjoying using it. And I also get these, oh my gosh, I was going to call them Heidi Swap. They're not Heidi Swap. They are Dear Lizzy watercolor words. So I just put all these through, and I use mostly the Amy Tan stitched dies, and then I use a die from Memory Box. That's a flower. So I have two hearts, but only one make it on there. A circle that says love, lucky, and that one is in corrugated paper. So I'm just gonna, in a second, take them all out. I think at this point I wasn't sitting down. I was just taking everything off of the machine. And I did it like I taped them on with washi tape. So if you find that your dies are moving around in your paper, like I stick my dies on the plate, face up, and then put the paper on. So sometimes it slips. So I found that using washi tape, like the really crappy kind that doesn't stick very well, works really well because it doesn't usually stick to most of the paper. Some paper it does. One of the papers that I had on there it did. So I'm just using this. I use it for brads, but I'm using that. It's like a jewelry bead thingy to get all my pieces out. So I'm going to spray these with my colors that I made. And that hello, I try to do like more of an ombre look. So one side is more blue and one side is more teal or like aqua. So here I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want my photo. And I'm going to back that white paper on this. And those are a peacock like feather type of paper that was in a pack that I got from Walmart. So it has like mostly like animal prints and stuff. I got it because I was doing my daughter's Make-A-Wish album and I wanted like animal prints because, I had just started and I had no idea that like I didn't think about the fact of when would I use all these other animal prints. So now I'm trying to use them. And this year I'm really trying to make an effort to use like stuff that I have in my stash that I bought at the beginning of last year when I first started scrapping in February. So it's almost been a whole year now. I can't believe it. So that picture I lined or matted in, I think it's Teresa Collins, and it's like a newspaper print with white, and then there's teal around the circles, and that's where the newsprint paper like words are. So I really liked that whiteness with the other whites that are on the page. And so I'm just going to ink some of this stuff up in that Prima inker. And there's just like a piece of teal cardstock. And since I used that Studio Calco Atlas paper, I'm going to use this like grid map type of paper from Schmel. And at this point, I think I should get something to like ground this because I have that one piece up at the top and I was thinking about like cornering my other picture, so it's kind of like an L sort of in a weird shape, but I thought I needed something to kind of ground it. So I'm going to use that other piece of Schmel. And I use a lot of Schmel and Stitched just because they have a lot of those colors that I was looking for. And I'm going to use these clouds because we were outside. So I love this photo of my daughter. She's so fun. This is like this picture is like 5 years old, guys. It makes me like feel like time has went by quick. So this is a picture, since I'm talking about it, I am going to put this on Pop Dots. I'll say that real quick. So this is a picture of my daughter Keaton, and that's my middle child. And she is going to be 5 soon. But here she's like 6 months old, and this was when we first moved to El Paso, Texas. And in the summer, which is when this was taken, I'm not sure exactly when, but it is like over 100 degrees there. So we would go to, instead of being stuck in our apartment, which tended to get pretty hot, we would go out, even though it's still hot outside. But we would go to like the splash pad or something. So she would, just be in her bathing suit, and she just sported that bathing suit and those sunglasses like, she's a fashionista. So even at 6 months old, she owned the fact that she was cool and, so I love this picture because it's one thing that is just she always reminds me of. She always has been like she owns the fact that she's like she's and a fashionista and not in like knowing that she is. So I think that's what is the coolest thing about her is she doesn't like walk around like she, is like, "Oh, I'm the bomb," but as I'm dating myself here, right? Who says da bomb anymore? Anyway, back to the layout. Now I'm just rambling on and on. So I am putting that Lucky that I had die cutted over top of a Pink Fresh Studio ampersand. And I just used a few of those Pink Fresh Studio rub-ons because there was a few in the colors, and they have a lot of bright colors. But since I was keeping to the one color. So, and I had a really hard time because I'm trying not to like throw everything that I have out on my desk, which is a total mess, by the way. Like watching back at this, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. But, sometimes you get going and you're creating that you don't realize that you're making a mess when you do it. And, I don't know if it really makes you any better of a scrapbooker, whether you're messy or not. But so I'm going to use this Amy Tan snid bit that says enjoy it. And it looks really, really cute in that watercolor splotch. And I really was just trying to find like some pieces that had the colors that I was looking for that just kind of added a little interest. So there's where I put the date, 2010, and now I'm gonna add these pieces that I sprayed. And the hello is still at this point a little damp, but I didn't feel like heating it, and I thought it was dry enough that it wasn't gonna like ruin the color because I print my photos at home. So if they get wet, and I think that was one from home, if they get wet, they're gonna like they get all funky. So here I was looking through some stickers and I used two, one that says front and center and one that says keep smiling. And I really guys, I was trying not to overdo it. So I just add a few little things and I'm going to glue this down, and I tried to not use too much glue so it didn't spill out onto my photo because I really don't want to see the glossy accents. A lot of times I really don't care. I'm not too picky about it, but at this point I really was trying to be careful. So I'm going to add that one there, and you don't see much of it because I do trim that up, that Chamel paper up off so it's equal for the 12 inches so it fits into my protector. And so here I'm putting that love from the inside of the circle that I put on above the photo. And I just think that it adds interest over to that side. So you do kind of get the circle effect, even though I wasn't trying for that when I was doing it. I was just doing it. But it also just kind of, it does bring your eye to what I did on that side of the page too, which is just fun. I mean, those stencils turned out amazing. I love those stencils. And those were created by Wilna. So, yeah. So here I am adding some sequins. Yes, I'm onto the sequins. I did enamel dots, and those were Dear Lizzy. And then so here are some sequins. And I used some Stampin' Up! Sequins, and then I just used random sequins from my stash. So I don't even know who they're from. I ordered like a variety pack from Paper Issues. So whatever, she just grabbed like, a cup, whatever, whatever she uses to measure them, and she put them in a bag. So here I'm doing the journaling, and I just pretty much say what I said about how at a young age she just owned that she was fabulous. So I am going to sprinkle this with those mists, and I really like how it dried. You can see the glimmer in it, and oh, it's just so much fun. It's so much fun. So I really enjoyed doing this layout. I'm really enjoying doing this whole series. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun to have friends to scrapbook with and share your stuff and talk about what you're doing. So if you guys don't have a buddy to do scrapping with, I would definitely advise, even if it's just, somebody on Nicole Jones, if you hang out on Nicole Jones 911, or, I mean, it could be anybody. So anyway, here are all the close-ups, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys later. And don't forget to go over to Alicia Tillman's channel and check out her video and her layout. She has amazing layout. I already watched it. So, the perks of living in Hawaii. So, I hope you guys have a great weekend, an inspired weekend, and I hope you guys will join along and show us your layouts too. So, I will talk to you later, and